Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vance.
I said no pat pat.
Oh my god, we got Chris.
Two more grandpas?
And I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. We're in some Dragon Ball today. Oh my god, more manga. We're total manga heads now. How much manga have we read on this show? We've read Mario,
We
Zelda.
read Mario, Zelda, you know.
One Piece. That was a
One
real
Piece,
one.
that was the real one, yeah.
But recently, we're not big manga people, but we heard about the passing of Akira Toriyama, who was the creator of Dragon Ball. I guess Dragon Ball Z is kind of the most. That's the one that I remember growing up as a kid. It's like the most popular incarnation, maybe. But I don't know anything about it.
Definitely worldwide, yeah. He also did like Chrono Trigger, the video game. He had a lot of video games. So he did Chrono Trigger and he did Dragon Quest. And so those are.
I don't think I actually did that.
Yeah, so like the little slime and all the monsters and stuff. I mean, it's very Toriyama art. And then Chrono Trigger is like a blending of like the Enix team who made Dragon Quest with Final Fantasy. So those are the big deals for him. And the weird thing about Dragon Ball Z is I think in the US we got that first. And then Dragon Ball was translated later. So chronologically, Dragon Ball was made first. But we didn't get it that way. So we got kind of like as a Superboy type comic where it's like the young adventures of Goku.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I've never seen a single Dragon Ball anything. Have y'all?
My roommate watched it my freshman year of college, and we watched, I want to say like the transition season when Goku was like little and became older through a tournament or something. Because he's definitely like a full-grown man in Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. Chris, had you ever watched any or seen any, read any?
I mean, I might have seen the occasional episode of Dragon Ball Z, but I was not a fan. So I know the characters' names, but I have no attachment to most of it.
A lot of forum friends like Majin Buu and those kind of people. I know a lot. I know these characters through avatars on early 2000s internet forums.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Vegeta, there's a green dude. He's not in any of this, but.
Yeah, Krillin, all these other characters that don't appear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's like I've heard of Goku because sometimes wrestlers cosplay as him, and that's kind of it, you know. But I had no idea about anything. We decided to go back to the very beginning, read the first volume of the original Dragon Ball, see what it's all about. We'll get into this with the final thoughts, but this was so much more lighthearted and comedic than I expected from like just what I've seen of Dragon Ball Z commercials, like in the ether and all that sort of stuff. It's like, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. My understanding is like Dragon Ball ran for 16 volumes and is more of like a gag comic. And then Dragon Ball Z is like the serious fight comic. And it's running through Shonen Jump this whole time. Is that where it's at?
Yes.
Yeah. Very much like Shonen Jump is on this volume.
At least all these issues. I don't know if it got its own like spin-off at some point.
And I don't think we said this was 1986 when these came out here. I guess we'll just jump into it here. Oh, and of course, at the end of the episode, we're continuing Earth X. We're on issue number 12 there, second to last issue. So stick around for that. But let's jump into Dragon Ball. We have chapter 1. It's called Bloomers and the Monkey King.
Like Journey to the West, or the only way I know this is from is the Forbidden Kingdom, that Jet Li Jackie Chan movie. That was I think Jet Li played the monkey. I know one of them peed on the other one in their mouth.
I remember that. I think we saw that in theaters together.
Yeah, we did. From the director of the animated Lion King, a live-action movie adaptation of Journey to the West. I don't think it had any overlapping plot points with this.
No, but it does like evoke some Journey to the West kind of things, maybe. Just monkeys. I feel like monkeys are a big part of it.
And they're going west.
Yeah. But we open on this little boy who's got a monkey tail. He's chopping trees, talking to monkeys, all that. This is Goku. We're later going to learn. He hasn't been named yet. And then we see a young woman. Bulma is her name. She's driving around the area. She's tracking something. Goku's just kind of like adventuring. I guess he just spends all day outdoors, like throwing boulders around and like swinging from trees, doing all that stuff. He goes to catch a fish. He strips naked to catch a fish, and his little peen is out. And I was appalled.
This might be the first penis we've had on this show in 9 years. I don't know if we've had any nudity. I feel like the Alan Moore books had to have had some nudity. I don't feel like this is our first time. I feel like it's definitely our first peen.
I think it is, and little did I know how the rest of this book would play out, but. we got peeing right here at the beginning.
It sets the
the
tone. That's very good. Like it puts in the first few pages. So if you're like, I'm out, I'm not gonna read this anymore. I'm not gonna read this with my kids. We're good. We're out.
Yeah. So Goku is carrying this fish home, and this girl is driving her car. She crashes into the fish. Goku thinks this car is a big monster, and he's ready to fight it with his staff. And then she starts coming out of it, and she's like, "Oh my god, a demon coming out of this thing!" And she has a gun. She shoots him, but he is still alive. And Goku, we learn, has never seen a girl before, or even like any other human other than his grandpa. Everything that he knows in life came from what his grandpa told him. And meanwhile, Bulma thinks that Goku's tail, his monkey tail, is fake, and that he's a weirdo who's just kind of pinned this to his butt and playing monkey. But she does learn that he's very strong, so she's like, "All right, I'm going to use his strength to advance my own means. Let's go back to your home to meet your grandpa." And his grandpa is a ball, and she's just like a ball sitting there, and she says, "Oh my god, that's one of the Dragon Balls I'm searching for." And so we learn the whole premise of this series at this point, which is that there's 7 Dragon Balls, and they're numbered 1 through 7. And when you have them all, and you gather them, you'll get a wish from a dragon. And so she has ball number 2 and number 5. Goku has number 4. He does not want to give up his grandpa, though. That's the only grandpa he's got. And it's like, "All right, what do you want in exchange?" And she's like, "I know, I'll lift up my skirt."
She wheel and deals that. She wheel and deals that a lot.
She uses it constantly. It's like her go-to of like lifting up my skirt, show you my panties, and that's going to get me what I want. And you know what? Fair play to her. It works pretty often.
She lives in a man's world. She understands, I guess.
She understands.
But I like the premise of this because like all the balls have like the number of dots they are. Like ball 1 has 1 star, ball 2 has 2 stars, and they all have like a name for some reason. And I like it. And then I also like the like, well, why can't I just cast a bunch of wishes if I have all the Dragon Balls? You make one wish and all the balls just like fuck off to different parts of the earth like immediately. So we don't get there, but I'm excited about the premise of that.
Yeah, Bulma does withhold that information from Goku because she says, "Yeah, we'll go together, and you can give me the ball when it's time to get the wish, and then I'll give it back to you." And she's like, "Little does he know, they're gonna get scattered everywhere. He's not gonna get it back."
That's also a great story engine, so you can get all the balls and then like do it again and again and again and again. It's pretty. It's pretty.
Get another wish.
Like I like that.
It's built in. Yep, built-in everlasting premise. So she has these. They call them hoi poi capsules. They're like little pills that can turn into a whole lot of shit. Like they turn into cars and bikes and homes and stuff like that. She's got a little motorbike with a little covered top on it, and they go driving off together. They stop because she's got to pee, and Goku is constantly confused by everything she's doing. She's like, "Why she got to go all the way over there to pee?" And she gets caught by a giant pterodactyl.
Hell yeah!
I really like this pterodactyl. It's a fun scene. The pterodactyl's like, "Are you her friend?" Goku's like, "No, we kind of just met." And he's like, "Oh, well, we're friends. You wait right here, and we're gonna go chat." He like flies off with her and leaves her tied up. He's like, "Why do you have to tie me up?" Then she screams to be rescued, so Goku's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll do that now." And he frees himself, gets in the motorcycle, drives forward, does a big old jump, runs his bow staff through the pterodactyl's head, and Bulma is saved. She's hanging from a cliffside. She's peeing down into the big, whatever, the gorge. Good times. That's the first issue. It does set a tone pretty well. I feel like it doesn't explain it particularly well when we're just running through the plot here, but it's a gag a minute kind of thing. Like it is constant gag manga going all through it. Almost feel like I know it's definitely a trendsetter, and I'm sure not the only thing that has copied it. But thinking back to the Mario manga, where it really feels like this is the kind of vibe it was going for, with like we're going on an adventure and there's just going to be gags in between. Yeah. That one didn't do it quite as well as this does it so far, because it does have a much nicer balance, I think, of not inundating you with the gags the whole time.
Yeah, and Goku's like half the size of Bulma. He's like a little like cherubic little kid. And but like also like super strong, so he's like this weird like chaos engine that like lends itself to humor really well. Like he doesn't understand, but he's also super powerful, but also really dumb, and it's built well, I guess. Like, and then
It's
the
a lot
creatures are
of
cool.
classic tropes. A lot of classic tropes of cave boy in a city world,
Yeah, there
but
we
also
go.
you have cave things. You know.
He is a cave boy. There we go. That is absolutely it. Yep.
Yeah, but let's roll right into the second chapter here called No Balls. Another little rest stop, take out another capsule, and they make a giant home for themselves. Goku is again amazed. He hasn't heard of lights, of TV. He hasn't heard of a bath. Bulma forces him to get a bath, and she's like, "Oh, do you know how many guys would dream of me giving them a bath? What a waste of my babitude." But she does see at that point he really does have a tail, and she screams. And he's like, "What? Doesn't everyone have a tail? You're the weird one." He's like, "Well, I guess my grandpa also didn't have a tail, so maybe I am the weird one." Later, she's taking a bath, and he walks in, and he's like, "Okay, so instead of a tail, you have an extra butt on your chest." And she's horrified that he's walked in. We do learn that Goku is 14 and Bulma is 16. So they're both kids. Does that make it?
I'm like, this is gonna sound weird. I'm hoping the age of consent in Japan is 16 so it's less pervy on the writer side. Culturally, I'm like, just age her up. Like, just say 18. Just say 18.
Yeah.
Like 16, I'm like, ugh. Oh, okay, well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So
and he's like a baby Yoda because he's like 3 feet tall, but is 14 years
just
old.
2 years younger than her. Like I know that I remember in high school there were 14-year-old men and 14-year-old boys, but Jesus. Okay. Well, anyways, here at this point, I'm like, I gave my One Piece copy to my son's friends to read because they just sit around and they read comics and they're like, oh, this One Piece is awesome. I'm like, sure, read it. I don't know if I want them to read this Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, it is written for children, and I'm sure, but it just seems like it's like how Porky's was like cool to us, kinda.
I never watched it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's definitely at least I would say for teens. Like, it's not like there's worse comics, and especially in the 80s and 90s. But yeah, there's inappropriate stuff, and yeah, most of it is like fun, but some of it you're just like, this is bad.
Yeah,
like what's about to happen?
We're gonna get with that pig. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Goku, oh god, Goku goes out for some real food. I guess he doesn't like the food that's in the home there. Comes back with a dead wolf and a centipede for flavor. Beautiful. He cooks it outside. Later at night, Goku says he used to use his grandpa as a pillow, but Bulma makes him sleep on the floor. And we learn that she has 30 days to find the Dragon Balls before summer vacation is over. So they go to bed. Goku wakes up in the morning and sees her lying there. Decides to use her as a pillow the same way he used to use his grandpa as a pillow. By lying his head just directly in her crotch. And so he's like, something's weird though. It doesn't feel right. So he takes off her panties and then he screams. He says, "You've lost your ba." And she runs, checks on the Dragon Balls, thinking that's what she's talking about. And she's like, "No, they're right here. What are you talking about, man?" And she does not realize her panties have been removed.
Chekhov's missing panties. That's going to come into play later.
That's it.
Some harmless fun.
Yep. It's definitely weird. He's so like innocent about it and like brazen about things and non-sexual about it that it's like it doesn't bother me quite as much. But like the collection of everything, it starts to add up, and you're like, oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
It's more from the writer's standpoint. That's where I'm like, R.I.P. Akira Toriyama. But I think you were like young 20s when you wrote this.
And again, like the gag ending the first issue was her peeing her panties. So it's just like, this is so panty forward. It's getting
very. I think every chapter has panties mentioned or shown or something in it. So on to chapter 3. It's called Sea Monkeys. Bulma is taking too long to get ready. Goku calls her a turtle because she's so slow. And Goku's like, all right, I need some exercise. I'm going to go out, throw some boulders around, does his little adventuring. He accidentally picks up a giant turtle. And he's like, oh, my God. He's like, Bulma? were you so slow that you turned into a turtle?" And takes her home. But the turtle can talk. He sees like, okay, this is not Bulma, it's just another turtle. The turtle is parched, asks for a bucket of salt water and seaweed. And he says he got separated from the ocean a year ago. He's been trying to find his way home. And they're like, oh, well, the ocean is 120 kilometers to the south. He's like, oh my gosh, it's so far. Goku wants to help him, but Bulma wants no part of this. She wants to go back to the quest. And so Goku was like, all right, well, I'm going alone. And Bulma realizes, okay, wait, I actually do need him, and he still has that other Dragon Ball, so I got to go with him.
I do appreciate, I mean, this is obviously a translation of Toriyama stuff, but I do like the comedic timing of the panel of the close-up of the turtle where he's like, I should explain. You see, and then it cuts to the next panel, I'm a turtle.
Yes, that was good. And she's like, what am I, blind? I get it.
Like, that's such a good explanation. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I will say the translation is really pretty good. It overall, like, I feel like characters speak in their own like language, their own dialects almost sometimes, that kind of thing. It's overall very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of like, you should call me Miss or stuff like that, where it's like Americans don't, we don't really have honorifics as much. It's like, you should make it clear I'm a slightly higher status than you.
Yeah, I'm sure that joke also was a different one in the original translation because she says, "You should call me Miss," and he's like, "Okay, but what are you missing?"
Yeah, I'm sure that's some other he doesn't understand play on words thing, but yeah, it's there's a lot of that. It is a good it catches the spirit of the jokes instead of like trying to accurately say exactly what they're saying and translating it without the joke.
So they are traveling along with this turtle. Some bear creature along the road stops. He wants to eat the turtle. I have heard that like big giant turtles are like delicious.
Wow, Shredder over here.
I would love to try. I don't think I would want to try turtle soup, but like a turtle steak, I would want to try a turtle steak. You wouldn't?
I wouldn't. No.
Really? If you were offered, you would say no, thank you. Wouldn't even try it.
I definitely would say no, thank you.
What kind of turtle are we talking?
I don't know.
Like a big sea turtle?
I'll eat any turtle you put in front of me. But I feel like sea turtle is like pre-brined.
Yeah, and endangered. So in this fictional world where this turtle is not endangered.
It's not about the endangerment. It's about me tasting a turtle. Okay? That's all it's about.
Like a giant mutated human-sized turtle? How do you feel about that?
Human-sized, but still...
Like a teenage mutant. He's got to be a teenager, too. He's like age 13 years.
If it can talk, I would say no. I'm not going to eat anything that can talk.
Wow.
That's where I draw my line. All right. But this bear does not have a similar line because this turtle talks and this bear wants to eat it. Bulma wants to give him up, but Goku is like, no, we're not doing that. Goku fights, beats the guy up pretty easily. They get to the sea and the turtle's like, all right, hold on. I got to get y'all a reward. He swims off and he comes back with an old man riding on his back. This guy, I've definitely seen this character somewhere as well.
Yeah,
he's definitely around. He's a lot of perverts in this comic. He's one of them. He's got like a button-up shirt. So he has an interesting body shape. Like he's hunched over and he's got a turtle shell on his back. And like, imagine an old guy wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, but it's not Hawaiian. It just has letters on it. I don't know what this guy's.
He's got sunglasses though.
Yep. A little staff. Straight into chapter 4, we learn that this guy's name is Kame Sennin. He is the turtle hermit. He says, all right, well, Goku, the turtle is saying Goku helped me, so you should get a reward. And so this old guy tries to summon the immortal phoenix so that he can give them everlasting life. But he forgot that the immortal phoenix died, so he does not show up. Instead, he summons Kintoun, a flying cloud that lets anyone pure of heart fly it around. And the old guy, Kame Sennin, he tries to demonstrate by jumping into the cloud, but he falls right through. It's like, what? This thing must be broken. Works for Goku, though. He is pure of heart. He starts flying around in it. Beautiful, beautiful. Bulma is like, hey, I want something too. I got you that salt water. Don't forget that. And so the old guy's like, all right, I'll give you something in exchange for a peek at your undies. So she's like, yeah, okay, no problem. And she flashes the turtle and the hermit. They are shocked. She does not realize she does not have underwear on. But he's like, okay, so what can I give you? She realizes that he has one of the Dragon Balls. She's so happy. And he's like, all right, I haven't even agreed to give it to you yet. So she's like, how about another flash? And she gets it. Great. They get home, and she sees her panties there, realizes what's happened, and she's horrified. And Goku's like, yeah, I took them off you this morning. And she shoots Goku a few times out of anger. And then, they spend the night, time to leave. Bulma tries to jump in the cloud so they can ride together, but it does not accept her. She is not pure of heart either. Only Goku is pure of heart. So she's in the bike, Goku's in the cloud, and they are off to the next village. At this point, I wrote, okay, it's chapter 4, and they already have 4 out of the 7 balls. Like, it is.
I know. That's why I thought. That's why I thought that they were going to get all the balls, and then they're going to fuck off for the next volume.
Okay, do they get any more from this point?
We end with 2
They
left.
get one more. They get one.
Oh yeah,
more.
they do get the they.
Yeah.
But it takes what, 5 chapters to get one?
Yeah. So on to chapter 5. Oolong. It's 11 chapters total, by the way. So we're about halfway through, almost. We're a third of the way through. So Oolong is this chapter. They get to this village that seems deserted. Goku punches through a door to get into this home. It's labeled that a shaman lives there. And the shaman attacks them, thinking that they are the evil Lord Oolong. That Oolong has taken the form of a small child. And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Take anything, Lord Oolong. Spare my daughter." But then they realize it's just a boy. And Goku and Bulma learn about the whole situation here, that Oolong came by yesterday and spotted this daughter and said, "Oh, I'll come back today to marry her." And he's already kidnapped other village girls. He's threatened to eat the villagers if they try to flee. So this whole village is kind of kept captive by this evil Lord Oolong. Meanwhile, Goku pats the daughter on the stomach to see if she's a girl. Lots of pat. And Bulma smacks him. Says, "No more pat." Bulma asks if they have seen any Dragon Balls, and this old lady in the village holds one up, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I have one. It's number 6." She gets a pat from Goku as well, and she's like, "Oh, Sonny." He's really going around molesting everybody on accident. Bulma has a plan to dress up Goku as this daughter, since they're a similar size. And he's going to get kidnapped by Lord Oolong. Lord Oolong will take him back to the lair wherever the other girls are being held. And that way they can save them all. Hooray. So they go through with this plan. Goku is dressed up as a little girl. Oolong shows up. He's a big pig demon who's dressed in a tux with flowers. Very Bowser at a wedding kind of style. Reminds me of that. She's shy and she's turned away. Not she. It's Goku dressed as the girl. She's shy and is turned away. And so he's like, "Oh, is my appearance frightening you?" And he turns into a more handsome man. And Bulma sees him, and this is the first time I think we learned that Bulma is boy crazy. Because she sees him and he's kind of hot, and she can't contain herself, and she runs out and she's like, "Don't take her, take me. I'm sweet 16." Like, what's your bra size? Like 34C? Okay, weird. Oolong is like, okay, well she's older than me, but she doesn't have to know that, and he really just wants to get in that bra. So he's trying to make up his mind. Do I take the first girl? Do I take this new girl? And Goku, meanwhile, is getting bored. He goes to pee against a tree while Oolong is deciding. Oolong sees him peeing, goes to get a closer look, and sees something he doesn't want to see. He gets mad at the deception, and he turns into a big old bull, and it's time for Plan B. They got to fight. So yeah, pervier and pervier with every chapter here. So long, Oolong. Into chapter 6. The fight's about to start. Oolong is looking at this clock, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm realizing I'm out of time." He runs away, and we see him transform into a little communist pig. Why is he dressed like a communist? What's this guy's deal?
He's definitely got like a. Is that a cultural? I should have looked it up. It looks like he's dressed like Che Guevara with the little like star hat, and it's very weird.
Very weird. Goku runs after this pig, or Goku runs after Oolong, and he sees this pig who's like, "Oh yeah, he went that way." And we learned that Oolong can stay transformed for 5 minutes, and then he needs a 1-minute recharge. All right.
Man, this is built for video games, dude.
It really
like
is.
the quests are, and then like on that last thing with the turtle, like I thought we were gonna do a side quest, but turns out you get one of the doodads, and now here we are, and he's like, I've got this power, but I got cooldown times. Fucking A, I love it.
Gotta have cooldown times. So Goku comes back and he's like, all right, the monster must have gotten scared and run away. Oolong is like, well, I can't let my reputation be lost like that, and I wouldn't run away. So he transforms into this big battle-armed warrior with a bowl of soup. It's an odd decision. This guy kind of doesn't know what he's doing, I don't think. And Goku's like, are you going to fight or just play dress-up? And then Oolong accidentally sticks his thumb in the bowl of soup, and it's like burning him, and it goes, ow, ow, ow. And then this little boy in the village shows up and slingshots him, and Oolong scares this boy away. And he's like, oh my God, my reputation, like, if a little boy is attacking me, like, what's going on here? Goku asks him, like, hey, are you really a puny weakling? And he's like, no. And so they do a little show of strength. Goku displays his strength by destroying bricks with his finger. Then Oolong turns into a bat and flies away, not realizing Goku can pursue in his magic cloud. Oolong turns into a missile to try and go faster, but then he runs out of time. His secret is revealed. He turns into a pig, and Goku carries him down. They tie him up, and they make him lead all the villagers back to his home so they can rescue all these daughters. And it's a big mansion, huge mansion. He's like, yeah, it's all the money I extorted. And the parents show up, and they're like, oh, princess, we're going to take you home, all that. And these kids are living the high life. They do not want to go back home. They are sipping champagne or some champagne equivalent, I imagine. And they're they're having a great time. And Oolong is like, yeah, please take them. They're wearing me out. That's kind of why I wanted a shy girl. Oh, it would be sweet if it wasn't so illegal. Goku
if
and
he wasn't
Bulma,
trafficking women, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Give him a break. He means well.
Does he? I don't know. I don't know that he does. I think he means,
I
means
think
well
issue,
for himself.
I think this issue or the next one will demonstrate he does not mean well.
Not at all. Not at all. So Goku and Bulma leave with the 5 Dragon Balls now, and they're in a boat. They brought Oolong too, because his shapeshifting could come in handy. Okay.
And I'm not an expert in Chinese history, but I'm looking at a wiki for Journey to the West, and the second character after the Monkey King is a character named called Pig of the 8 Precepts, who's also called Piggy or Pigsy. So that's Oolong. I think we cracked the code.
Cracked it. Bulma, so Oolong really is not excited about going on an quest. So Bulma was like, I might sleep in my undies tonight. It's hot out. And he's like, okay, maybe I'll stick around. Goku then gives Oolong a little pat. And he's like, I'm just trying to check to see if you're a guy. And he's like, darn right I'm a guy. Don't ever touch me again. It's on to chapter 7. Yamcha and Puar is the title of this. We're going to meet these two. But their next stop is Fry Pan Mountain, which Oolong is scared of. It's apparently a dangerous place. That's the home of the Ox King. But that's where the next Dragon Ball is. So Oolong turns into a fish to escape. He does not want to be there. Bulma knows exactly how to get him back. She grabs a fishing rod, puts her panties on the line as bait, and casts it into the river. And instantly he's back. Great. And she later on the boat, he's like, you could at least let me keep them. No, sorry. Give them a sweet tart instead. Very, very sweet. The boat is out of gas, so they make Oolong then turn into an oar so they can keep paddling. They arrive on land, tie up the boat, and Bulma realizes she has lost her other Hoi Poi capsules, must have dropped them in the water somewhere, so they're going to have to walk. Oh no. Those Hoi Poi capsules really are like super powerful. They can be, they're another great like plot device of you can do anything with these things. So it's probably smart to just get rid of them so they're not too powerful. Oolong gets a little bored, runs away, and we learn, Bulma did not give him sweet tarts. She gave him sweet trots, where when she squeezes and does a little pig call, he gets diarrhea. He gets the trots. I really want to know how like this was translated in the original, because
Yeah.
this
What?
is a weird like it's something. It must be something that sounds like diarrhea in Japanese. I don't know, but it's a weird premise that this thing gives you diarrhea when you hear a pig call. Weird. There you go.
And she had
Uh,
that. She has everything.
she has
Yeah.
it on her.
She has the ability to do this.
Yes. He's got the runs, and he's like, all right, I'll come back. Please just don't do that again. And they make him turn into a little motorbike so that he can carry Bulma. But we realize his strength doesn't change when he turns into a different thing, so it doesn't make him stronger. He still can't carry Bulma because he's a weak little pig. But he does suggest that he can turn into a pair of panties and she can wear him while they walk. And no, she throws him to the ground. So they're walking. Bulma and Oolong are exhausted in this hot sun. She passes out up against some trees or something for a little while they are being watched by a cat with a telescope, like a little tiny cat. The cat goes to tell his boss, Lord Yamcha, hey, we've got game. They might have some hoi poi capsules. So Yamcha and Puar come blazing at them on a hover bike to end the issue. They're getting attacked.
I mean, I assume he's like, they might have some hoi poi capsules.
He does look like he sounds like that, yeah.
He sounds exactly like Meowth, I assume.
But he's got to. I can't imagine a cat that doesn't sound like that. Straight into the next issue, next chapter, Yamcha and Puar introduce themselves. We learned that so Yamcha is like, he's definitely got a Power Ranger-y look to him with like a little circle on his chest, just no helmet. But maybe Power Ranger is not the right word. I don't know. But there's something about that circular design right on the chest that whatever it is, it reminds me of maybe just a particular season of Power Rangers. Whatever. But we learned that Oolong, the pig, and Puar, the cat, used to go to school together. Oolong was kind of a bully, used to pick on Puar all the time. And Oolong got kicked out of school for stealing the teacher's undies, which checks out. Honestly, I'm not surprised at all. We get a little fight scene here with Goku and Yamcha. And we learned that Goku's bow staff can grow large at his command. And Yamcha he's realizing the importance of this staff, and he's like, where'd you get that? And so, yeah, from my grandpa. Like, what was your grandpa's name? It was Gohan. And Yamcha knows that name. That guy, Gohan, was unrivaled in martial arts. If this guy's his grandson, we need to, can't take him lightly. He decides to give it his all. He attacks with his Fist of the Wolf Fang attack. Goku is starving, not at full strength. He gets punched away real bad. Not great. And then Oolong and Puar have a little transformation fight. I guess Puar can transform too. Oolong turns into a fly. Puar turns into a fly swatter. That kind of thing. And Yamcha comes up. He's got Oolong cornered. He says, give me your hoi poi capsules. And Oolong gives up his last emergency one that he was holding on to. Then Goku shows up, gives him a rock, paper, scissors attack to push him away. And Yamcha comes running back, and Bulma is just waking up at this point. She's been asleep the whole chapter. But as Yamcha comes back, he sees her, and he's just like, he stops. He's dumbfounded. He blushes, and he stammers a little bit, and then he runs away. And Bulma is kind of excited. She's like, oh my God, that guy's cute. How do y'all know him? I want his address. And we learn back at their lair that Yamcha's weakness is that he is scared of girls. Oh my. Oh my. So on to chapter 9, Dragon Ball's in danger. Oolong has used his emergency capsule to put out a little RV for them to live in for a bit. And Yamcha, we see, has a plan to, I guess, just steal their stuff. At this point, he doesn't know anything about the Dragon Balls. He's just some kind of bandit who's trying to take their stuff. And his plan is we're going to make Puar the cat shapeshift into one of the boys. And that boy is going to lure the girl away so Yamcha can go in and steal their capsules. Great plan.
There's just one problem. The capsule is the truck they're in.
They don't know that they don't have any other capsules, right? They think they have a bunch more.
I guess not.
They're going purely on speculation here.
Oolong does say, "I'll give you my last emergency capsule."
His, right? But what about the other two? What about this girl, right?
Yeah, they don't know that she already lost hers and that Goku doesn't know what they are.
Yes. So they do some surveillance. They're hanging out this RV. Yamcha sees Bulma showering in the window, and he loses his mind a little bit. Then they overhear Goku and Oolong talking about the Dragon Balls, and Yamcha's kind of excited. He's like, "Oh my god, I can wish to never be afraid of girls again." Puar thinks this is a stupid wish. You should wish to the king of the world. Whatever.
He's like, once I deal with the fear of girls, I could take over the world anyway.
Yeah. Oolong is also learning about these wishes for the first time. He does not care about girls, and Goku's like, "Well, you could wish for a girl." He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I could." And Goku's like, "Why do you like girls anyways? They're missing parts." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, that's kind of funny." Goku does not understand anything. Bulma gets out of the shower at this point. She's wearing a towel. She had asked Oolong to lend her some PJs, but they are way too small. They're tiny pig-sized. So she says, "You better have my clothes cleaned by the morning." Oolong, as we have noted, is a pervert. And he decides that he is going to get a little bit more of a peek. And he offers them both juice. He's such a nice pig.
The pervert might be too kind of a word in this case.
I think you're right. He's a sex offender.
Not good.
Close to a date rapist, perhaps.
I would say so. Yeah. He gives them
for children. A book for children.
Yeah.
Your protagonist.
Yes.
For fun.
Well, he's not the real protagonist. He's more of a trickster figure.
Yeah, I would not call Oolong a protagonist at all.
Loki's not trying to rape Jane Foster. I'm just saying. Like, he is an anti-hero on that level.
I guess. Good for him.
Good for him.
That's
this pig,
the bar we've set now. I'm sorry.
This pig doesn't seem to have any parents. He's a child out in the world. I'm not trying to sympathize with him. I should stop there. I'm not trying to sympathize. Oolong. Okay, we haven't even mentioned Oolong gives them both juice with a sleeping potion in it because he's gonna knock them both out. Okay. Goku falls asleep while Oolong goes upstairs. I believe his words
were, "Now I can do whatever I want with that chick."
Is that what he said? Oh my god! All right.
In my translation, at least, the Viz Media one.
So Oolong goes upstairs. Meanwhile, right outside, Yamcha has Puar turn into a key so they can get inside. Great. Then he has Puar turn into a little Goku, who does not look exactly like Goku, but close enough. You know, it's just kind of like an odd, like it's like a fucked up Goku. It's not right.
Yeah. I called it when I was telling a friend about it, a season 1 Simpsons like version.
Yes.
It's like it's a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
For those of y'all who also like Pokemon, it looks like Ditto because his eyes are all weird.
Yes. And then he kind of looks like shit, but Yamcha is like, "You look perfect." So Oolong sees the fake Goku coming up the stairs, and he's like, "What? I thought I knocked that guy out." So he decides he's gonna cover Bulma under the sheets, and Oolong himself is gonna turn into a fake Bulma so that he doesn't get into trouble. And it's again his version of Bulma is fucked up. She is definitely not the real Bulma. But we get a wonderful scene with this fake Goku and this fake Bulma lying to each other.
It's so funny.
It's wonderful. It made the whole volume for me here, this scene. And Oolong is Goku, the fake Goku, which is the cat, which is says let's go outside for a little while. And Bulma, the fake Bulma, is just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let's go." Yamcha's watching all this and is like, "I could have swore that girl was thinner." He sees then a bunch of like mounds hidden under the covers, and he thinks, "Oh, this has to be the Dragon Balls." And he lifts up the covers, and he's done. He's dead. He just sees what he sees, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And the next panel we see Puar leading Oolong back home. Like, it's okay. You're going to be fine. Yeah. Beautiful scene. Onward to...
Yeah, I love the reveal where he's just like, hey, there's something I got to show you. You've been tricked.
Oh, yes, I skipped that part where they both reveal their tricks to each other. And they're like, wait a minute, what? All right, on
like,
to...
Oh, no, yeah, it's a great, again, it's set up by hilarious attempted sexual assault.
Yes.
But it foiled and comedic mishaps ensued.
Yeah, all's well that ends well, right? Right. So on to chapter 10 here. Onward to Fry Pan is what it's called. The last two chapters. Goku and Bulma wake up. They've been knocked out all night. And Oolong stayed up all night watching guard. And Bulma is like, hey, did you clean my clothes? And it's like, no, been busy. And he says, but there's some clothes in a chest upstairs that you can wear. And she comes down. It is a Playboy bunny outfit. She is not happy about this, but she is wearing it because that's all she's got.
Well, I also do love that the issues always tease like what's about to happen in the next issue, but it always is like not what you expect. Like it was like next issue, Bulma the bunny, and I'm like, well, we do have a lot of shapeshifters here. Yes. I wonder if she's gonna get turned into a rabbit, and then they don't do that. And I like that.
Rabbit.
The other one was like I lost my balls, and then the issue it was clearly about the Dragon Balls was what the tease was, and then it was because Goku was like, you don't have a penis. But it does it in clever ways. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Bulma does get told like, okay, yeah, I was up all night guarding in case that guy shows up again, and she's like, oh yeah, that boy. She's excited to see him. Yamcha, meanwhile, sees them in the RV, and he decides to attack them with a rocket launcher. Knocks the RV over. Knocks out Bulma as well, who was so excited to see him. Goku versus Yamcha happens. It's very brief. Goku is well fed this time, so he's not as weak as he was during their last fight. And he pretty quickly like punches or smacks Yamcha in the face, and his tooth gets knocked out. And he's like, "Oh my god, my pretty face!" And he has to retreat. Yamcha back home realizes, wait a minute, I should steal the balls after they've gathered them all. What am I, stupid? I'm just going to follow them. So he drives around, and he's like, hey, guys, sorry, that whole thing was our fault. Just, sorry about the whole thing. We didn't know what we were doing. Here, take a capsule for free, get back on the road, and gives them a car. And they're like, wow, I told you that guy was nice. Bulma likes him. The pig is like checking for bombs. He's not trustworthy. He's not trusting of them. But they set off, and Yamcha pursues. And then on to chapter 11, last one in this volume, which is not really much of a conclusion at all. In fact, we get a teaser of a different character. All right, so we see the crew get to Fry Pan Mountain. It's a castle surrounded by fire where the Ox King lives. Yamcha and Puar are watching their approach, and then they run into this little girl who's kind of dressed like a space superhero with kind of a very a spacey looking helmet that's got a fin on the top, and she's being chased by a T-Rex. And she takes the fin off of her helmet and throws it at the T-Rex, cutting off the T-Rex's head in one clean motion, and it boomerangs right back to her helmet. And so this thing is dead. He was kind of looking like a little volcano with splurting blood out of the top of his head. And she is still freaked out. So she lasers it with her helmet, and it explodes because it's too freaky. Then she sees Yamcha, and she fires her laser at him. She's like, everyone, menaces, just constantly coming at me. And Yamcha is like, what the hell? He dodges it and knocks her out. And he's like, Puar is like, oh, you weren't afraid of her. And he's like, well, she's a little girl, not a pervert. Okay, all right, fair.
All right, your behavior at the RV when you were looking through the bathroom mirror or the bathroom window.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I guess he means he's not a pedophile.
That's fair. Did we even learn this girl's name?
Not yet.
or
We'll
anything
figure out
about
who
her.
she is in the future.
She looks like a Dragon Quest. She looks like a Dragon Quest character.
Yeah, she looks like the protagonist of like a Master System game or something like that.
100%.
Yeah. So back at
Wonder
the castle,
Girl or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Aphrodite.
something about that fin helmet. Why do space people always have? I feel like I've noticed a lot of fin helmets.
Very much the Kree have those kind of helmets.
The Kree, that's who I'm thinking of. She's Kree.
With their mohawks.
Wow. Much
But
like
Yondu never threw
Captain
his
Marvel.
Yeah, Yondu never threw his mohawk to slice dinosaur heads off, and that's a good idea. We'll put that one on the list.
Yeah. And
Should.
maybe he should.
Yeah. We'll put it on the list of suggestions for Yondu if we ever run into him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the list.
if we ever book a Yondu book, if they're like this, some of my friends read comics, guys are writing a Yondu comic, and we've got a story ready for them, or really one three panels of a fight. Really.
Yeah, we got more of a bit than a story.
The reviews are going to call it a Yondu, I'm sure.
Oh no.
All right, so Bulma.
What is the Hollywood Reporter or Variety covering her?
yes. I hope we get on the cover of all these big papers with our Yondu comic.
Yeah, Yondu, yawn, don't.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. Great. Yes, back at the castle, Bulma has decided that Goku should fly in on his cloud. So as he's flying towards the castle, the Ox King approaches behind Bulma and Oolong, and he's freaking huge. He looks like a child put together a wrestler's outfit from spare parts, like spare stuff around that he had. But, it's a pretty good look, like a Viking helmet, a feather coming up out of it, a cape that's tied around his neck and his waist with some Captain America looking stars. Interesting design. Little goggle eyes as well. Or what are those? I like his look. He's interesting and he's giant. And he's questioning what are y'all doing here? You're here to steal my Dragon Ball, aren't you? Goku gets back and he's like, wait a minute, where'd you get that cloud? I got it from Kame Sennin, some old turtle guy. He's like, what? That's my invincible old master. You got to know where he is. Tell me, where did he live? And that's the cliffhanger we end with, that this guy is excited to learn of his master. A weird way to end the first volume. I feel like after 9 would have made more sense, but that probably would have been too short. But yeah, that's the first volume of Dragon Ball, ending on sort of an anticlimactic note. All right, so what'd y'all think? Vince, I guess let's start with you.
I like the art. I think the art is fun. I think it's very well drawn. I think it has a good forward momentum. I think it's built well for a plot. I don't love it. I think it's a little too pervy for me. I'm concerned about giving it to my son, although that's a weird value judgment. Violence where pirates' heads are cut off in One Piece, 100%. Give that to all my son's friends. A girl showing her panties? No, 100. But the guys are super misogynistic, and it's just it's creepy. And maybe that's my age. I'm close to 40, reading about 16-year-old girls. It's not cute. It's not a good look. That said, I think I liked One Piece a lot more than this. I think I'd rather, if we were gonna go back, I'd rather do One Piece, or I think I'd rather read Dragon Ball Z and get to more of the fighting and less of the gag stuff. Is my thoughts. But I probably are gonna read. I got this in a 3 volumes in one book, so I might look at more of it.
Okay. Chris, how about you?
I agree with Vince that it's hard to be too strong of a recommend because it is so pervy. But I liked it. I think the art is great. There's definitely a sort of I don't even know. I mean, it's sort of. I guess it is very much what becomes the 80s and 90s anime style of just wild takes and silliness. But it's really well done. There's a little bit more of the classic cartooning Carl Barks Ducks comics in terms of how it's drawn that I think is really good, and parts of it were really funny. This is the jokes that I liked. I really liked. Like I said, there were plays on words and stuff where I'm this is just a translation joke, so I don't really find it funny. But there were good comedic situations.
Yeah, I feel like I generally agree with y'all. I maybe honestly liked it more than both of y'all. It has great pacing, I thought. Um, just overall, really fun and snappy to read. Like a nice balance of gags and like moving the plot forward. It's slightly unfortunate that almost every gag is a pervy gag. Uh, but again, they didn't bother me as much as they seemed to bother. Like Vince, I think, was most bothered by it, and like I get
Well,
it.
because I bought this and I'm like, well, I'm gonna read this for the show and then I'm gonna give it to the
Mhm.
neighbor kids. Like that was the pipeline. I was like, okay, that's great. That's why I got this like 3 volume set. And
No,
I'm
but
like,
now you're stuck with it.
yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I could just give it to Half Price Books or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, because they loved One Piece. They all passed that around. They loved that.
Um, but yeah, it's overall pretty fun. I kind of think I'm curious to read more, and I definitely do want to read some Dragon Ball Z now, at least just to see how the style and it all keeps evolving. And I am not sure Dragon Ball Z will have as much comedy, but it's kind of what I like about it. I didn't expect a comedy manga, so I was just like pleasantly surprised and somewhat shocked at this comic that I was just like, this is not at all what I thought Dragon Ball was going to be. So yeah, one of the more interesting comics I think we've read. But
I'm glad we read
anyone
it.
got? Yeah, for sure. Anything else to say about it?
No, I'm trying to see how long the cartoon is. Like the Dragon Ball cartoon.
Yeah, they made that. Maybe I'll watch the manga or something. Just
The anime, yeah.
get through
Yeah,
it
I
faster.
watched the
I mean,
scenes.
the
I was
anime.
like, I'm sure it's on here, but I was like, shapeshifter tricks, other
Oh,
shapeshifter Dragon
yes.
Ball, and it's like, oh yeah, it's on there, and it's pretty funny.
I
They
would be
stretch it
curious.
out to like 2 minutes, but I'm like, it's still good.
Perfect. Yeah, I do want to see that. So, anyways, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. You were a pervert. On to Earth X.
what an obit.
What an obit. On to Earth X. So we're on Earth X number 12 here. This is the second to last issue. We're almost done. Last issue, we've just had a big fight scene where the Skull was killed, Captain America was victorious. But I feel like we're not going to re-explain the premise. It's the future, blah, 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 So we're going to get some aftermath, I guess, of all this, but the Celestials are coming. The Celestials are the bigger bad here. And in our little beginning text stuff here, Uatu is saying, talking to Reed Richards, saying, LOL, Black Bolt is dead. Did you hear his cry of pain as the Celestials ripped him apart? And Reed is like, no, that was not a cry of pain. That was a cry for help. He yelled a name. And then he's saying, okay, well, it's all up to Tony now to save the day. And Uatu was like, Tony Stark? That guy? LOL. It's a lot. I feel like Uatu's subtext for this issue was a lot of LOL. And he's like, let me tell you Tony Stark's history. That guy's a coward. He's always hiding from the world. And Reed is saying, yeah, he hid to save his brain for humanity because he knew how important it would be. Okay. We get a splash page of the Celestials over NYC with all the heroes looking up.
That was cool. That was a good.
It was a cool panel. I like that panel a lot. I am disappointed that is the only time we see any of the heroes of NYC. I kind of want to know what they were doing after the whole aftermath of the fight, but we don't get that. Not in this issue, at least. But we've got Tony is talking to Reed Richards on his comm system. He's currently flying his Iron Giant at the moon. And he's like, okay, Reed, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you've contacted who I think you have, well, I don't know how you did it. He's got to be on the other side of the universe. Like, oh, it's a nice little bit where he's like, that's the difference between you and me. You always knew exactly what you were trying to build. I'm just kind of winging it, doing the best I can. Then we're in Asgard. Loki and Odin and Thor are there, a bunch of other Asgardians kind of around them. They're talking about, I don't know what they're talking about, but Loki says like, hey, nobody remembers when we came to Earth, when we were shapeless. It's not till we were molded by the myths of the Earthlings. And we only do all this shit that we do because they believe it, And Loki's like, the Celestials are threatening Earth now. All the men will die, and if they die, then so will we. But nobody seems to believe him. And he's like, okay, yeah, I know. I knew you wouldn't believe me, at least not among the living. So he grabs a knife and he stabs himself and falls over dead.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Like they really turn up Thor's like medieval, patter, where it's just like, what foul trick hath Loki planned? And it's like, shut up, Thor.
Yeah, it's like we only talk like that because they think we do, So Loki stabs himself and falls over dead, and then Loki, like another Loki, walks up the stairs. Is that what's going on? What's going on here?
He's in whatever like Hela's world, right?
Oh, that's a different place, a different scene. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I thought these were other Asgardians watching this whole situation, and then Loki shows right back up, and I was like, "What? Okay, this is a totally different place." I needed a scene break here. Great. So what happens next here? Black Bolt is confirmed dead by X-51. He was ripped apart by the Celestials. Reed spots the ultimate nullifier in Werewolf John Jameson's hands. And I guess the werewolf is on Uatu's side now. Is that what X-51 said?
It seems like Uatu's been trying to turn Jameson against them, but then he doesn't go through with it, right?
I see. Okay, yeah. We get a little goodbye scene from Tony as he flies this Iron Giant into the Celestials, and he crawls out of the wreckage. He's still alive, and he collapses as he sees the Silver Surfer and Surferette riding. X-51 grabs the nullifier from John as he turns into a werewolf. And this issue ends with the Celestials and Galactus kind of looming above. And that was it. I feel like nothing happened in this issue, man.
Yeah. I mean, the set or the reveal of Galactus being who he called is cool, but that's literally the only thing that happens all issue, really.
Yeah. Which is so surprising because this whole thing has been decompressed, and I thought we had like so much to explore now that this fight is done and people are not mind controlled by the skull. But no, that's it. And we get to our appendix this time is a letter from Captain America. I started to read it, but man, I did not finish. I was flipping through.
As he's burying
Red
Skull.
The new skull, yeah.
Yes.
And it's basically, and then it turns into like the Captain America origin story, kind of. Looks like,
right.
I was this way, and blah blah blah. And the Red Skull was his father killed himself after Red Skull's mom died in childbirth.
Yeah, I was like, do I want to read this? And I was flipping through, and one of the paragraphs started with, "As a young man, Johann went to work for a shopkeeper." And I was like, no, I'm not reading this. This is not Captain America. I don't know who you're talking to, but you need to trim it down a bit. But yeah, I really hated this issue. I was very upset with this issue. I was thinking about the whole premise of this, and I was like, this book kind of just forgets to live in its own world and like have any of the fun that comes with the future. Right. You know?
Yeah. I will say this is an issue that I think reading it digitally probably hurts it because there's a couple of big 2-page spreads that you're just like on your tablet. You're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. If it's like your whole like, oh, it's Galactus, maybe you'd like it more. But yeah, it's very slow.
Very slow. Very slow. But the good news is next time we got the last issue. That's pretty good. Okay. Anything else to say about this issue before we talk about the next one? Nothing. Chris?
No, I think I said my half-assed defense of the things I thought were cool, but yeah, it's like once and just like you were saying about skipping over the Captain America flavor text, when Uatu's like, "Let me tell you about Tony Stark," I was like, "Oh,
yes, we don't need these history
lessons.
I
don't want to hear about Tony Stark."
Yeah. But next time we do have the last issue of Earth X. It is Earth X number X. What does that mean? No, it does not mean you get to reread any issue that you want. It's Earth X number X, the last one.
It's not a variable issue.
Yes, not a variable. And next time, next time we're actually going to be recording on April Fool's Day. I think the next
No,
episode
no,
drops.
No, it's just not actually April
week
Fool's Day. We
after.
just cover bad comics in April Fools.
Oh wait, next week is April Fool's. That's
Yeah.
right. In a couple of weeks, April Fool's Day will have passed. We hope you all celebrate a wonderful April Fool's Day with your friends and family and loved ones. We will be reading some possibly purposefully bad comics just to see what they're all about.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah, historically we did like All-Star Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
You know, just like much maligned comics. I think like our least favorite events, I think we pulled out like Secret Invasion and Fear Itself in past years. Which are kind of like a toss-up for whether or not they're maligned, but definitely All-Star Batman and Robin, and we had that the last 2 years, so it's a little tiny tradition.
But this time around, we are reading a couple of different one-shot comics. We're reading Avengers number 200 by Jim Shooter and George Perez, which has some stuff with Rogue, where she has to go to hell to save her kids or something like that. I don't know.
We'll see.
But it's from 1980. We'll see what it's all about. Apparently, it is a ridiculed comic. And then we're going to read a silly one. We're going to read some Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, from 19. Oh, I forgot to write down the year here, but 87. I'm surprised. I didn't know he was around that long. At some point in a past episode, we were talking about these Peter Porker Rogues Gallery types of people. Baron Zebro caught our eye. I'm a big Baron Zemo fan, and Baron Zebro, I got to see this guy.
I'm assuming he's a zebra, right?
I would assume so.
Does the mask have stripes? I don't know. I haven't even looked at it yet.
I'll have to find out. I haven't seen him either. But he had one appearance ever in Peter Porker number 16. So we're going to read that one.
It looks like he's teaming up with some sort of Animal Avengers team as well.
Can't wait to see what kind of weird idiots are in this comic. It's going to be fun.
I hope it begins with 4 pages of Uatu being like, let me tell you about the Iron Mouse.
We did flip through this, and there is a Billy Goat Joel poster in the background of Mary Jane Water Buffalo's home.
Yes,
so.
There's some fun characters, a lot of puns. So join us for that. So that's again next time. That's Avengers 200, Peter Porker number 16, and then Earth X number X.
Earth XX.
Earth XX, Dos X squared. But what else we got going on here, Chris? How is the Your Stupid Minds podcast doing?
It's going great. We just recently released an episode on Virtuosity, the 1995 cyberpunk movie where Denzel Washington has to catch a computer program that's been brought to life that's a super serial killer played by Russell Crowe. It's a very fun, very silly movie.
I'm excited. I definitely watched that at a friend's house. I don't know if it's R-rated, but I definitely watched that at a friend's house in 5th grade. So I'm excited to see what that is all about.
It may be R-rated just for the violence, but there's no nudity or anything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you do see Russell Crowe's butt. That's the only nudity.
Oh, yeah. I am entertained. Thank you.
Virtuosity. That's I don't like that name. That name doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai.
Yeah, I was about to go to the same place.
The director of that video was just nominated for an Oscar. What was it?
For what?
I don't remember now. His name's like Jonathan something, I think. But whatever.
Okay. Great. Vince, what are you doing? Tracking
Nothing.
the Oscars?
I've got nothing going on. Just chilling, hanging out. Go Spurs go! As we wrap up this season, my March Madness bracket is doing really well, and back on my Yakuza bullshit. Oh, and I played Dragon Quest Rocket Slime in honor of Toriyama. Did you ever play Rocket Slime, Kia?
I love that game.
It's fucking great. I played it last week. It's so good. It holds up so well.
Yeah, DS game. If you've never played Dragon Quest Rocket Slime, best in the Dragon Quest series. Probably not. That new Dragon Quest 11 is pretty good, but Dragon Quest Rocket Slime,
That's
don't
Kia's
sleep on
tier
it.
chart. Dragon Quest 11, then Rocket Slime.
Don't sleep on it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Glazer, who did the Zone of Interest, is directed that Jamiroquai video.
Yep.
It's the Zone of Interest.
It's the movie that Zionists are very mad at. We're not
the
going to
Auschwitz
talk about
movie?
it more.
Yeah. Okay. Not my
Yeah.
first picture. But
All
either
right.
way, Virtual Insanity. Kia, what are you up
great.
to?
Who knows? What did I do? Oh, I started playing The Call of Cthulhu, a video game. I played that was my first pen and paper role-playing game back in the day. Pretty good video game, actually. I'm liking it. If you like that kind of mystery, walk around, look at stuff, talk to people, make choices.
What system is that for?
I think it's on everything, but I'm playing it on PlayStation.
And is it a modern game? Like recently?
Yeah, it's like within the last couple of years, I think.
Okay, cool.
Because I know they made the Sunken City like 4 or 5 years ago. It was like a Cthulhu thing, but it apparently had a very frustrated development thing, and so I heard mixed things. Like literally, I think the Switch version released, and then a week later they're like, actually, we're not allowed to do that, and unreleased.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I don't even know if this is by the same makers of that, but I'm liking the vibe of it. I don't play too many of these kinds of walk around, solve a mystery, no action kind of stuff, but it's pretty fun. Probably colored by some nostalgia. But that's it. Nothing weird. How about you, listener? What do you have to plug? We'll wait while you say something. We never give you a chance.
We're doing a Dora the Explorer thing. We're like,
yeah.
Well, listener, what are you doing?
Can you see?
Whoa, listener, that sounds great. Good job. We're so proud of you for your accomplishments. All right, so I think that's it. Why did I end the episode like that? Vince, I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Chris, I love you.
I love. Oh wait, there's a knock at the door.
Oh,
what? Kia, you're here? Okay, I'll follow you outside.
That's not me, Chris. That's not me. It's a fake me. It's a cat or a pig or it's a pervert pig. Don't drink any juice he gives you. No, Chris, no. Oh well, listener, we love you too and all your accomplishments. Thank you so much for listening. We're gonna go rescue Chris now. Have a great night. Talk to you later.